This show is sponsored by ODYS Global. Make sure that you do sign up and get a free $100 bonus by checking out ODYS Global's Age Domains or Done For You affiliate websites. Welcome to today's podcast where I'm joined by Mr. Kevin Meng.
Hello.
So thank you very much, Kevin, for joining us. You're going to be
Thank you.
Telling us more about your superstar copywriting or content writing.
Exactly.
That is your thing. Obviously, as we all know, content writing is one of those subjects that's just a right big pain in the backside. Everyone hates it. Like, I hate it. I just outsource it. I've got a couple of in-house writers, but anything I need for an affiliate project, I tend to outsource. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that just doesn't come back properly. Like, it's
a nightmare, right?
Yeah, it's just a minefield. Yeah. And I know you've been helping someone who was previously on the podcast, young Craig Jewett, who has launched his copywriting service.
Right.
Yeah. He's a local guy to me, and I think what he's offering, I think he learned a lot from you personally. I know he did mention that he had spoke to you and took a lot of things from you. So
that's good to hear. He took my course. We talked a lot about like training writers, hiring writers, improving existing content and stuff. So he's doing really well, man. He's scaling fast. I'm glad I could help him out. He said he learned a lot, so I'm really happy about that. I'm really flattered.
Yeah, so it ties in well because he was the last podcast that was released. Now we actually have the guy behind who helped, with that process, because I think what's really good about Craig's thing is it's, suffer optimized, and there's actual structure behind the content. It's not just blindly, as everyone else does with affiliate websites, give me 20 articles at 1,000 words and hope for the best, and there's no stuff going on behind it. But we'll come into all of that in a second. But for anyone who doesn't know what you do, how long you've been in the industry, what's your background like?
Yeah, so I've been doing this. I've been in the digital marketing and SEO industry about, I would say, like 6 or 7 years. I started doing it full time about 6 years ago. That's when I was living in Europe. I'm originally from the US. I was living in Europe. I got started. And then 4 years ago, I moved to Thailand. That's when I kind of got really heavily involved in the SEO space and meeting a lot of the SEOs out there in the Chiang Mai community. Started working with them. I was first like doing their content writing, then kind of became an in-house writer for some of them. Then I helped like do some training and consultation. So I've just kind of got deeper and deeper and into the community over the last few years. I think that's been a big help to me, because a lot of times they outsource content and you never actually meet the writer. You don't know the writer too well, and the writer never sees the fruit of their labor. But for me, I'm working really closely with people who are my friends or really close business contacts. I can really see the results, and I get direct feedback like, hey, this was working. Hey, this is not working. Hey, I've got this challenge. How do I fix it? So it's a lot. It's like positive feedback loops, and it's really taken my game to the next level in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Did we meet in Chiang Mai?
Yeah, we did. Like 2 or 3 years ago, we were in the conference. I think we went to the Lotus, like the pool thing, and then I think after that, like everybody went to Sangdi or something. But it was a whirlwind, man. I don't remember too much.
I'm going to say, because the amount of guys I met in Chiang Mai, and they're like, "Yeah, we met in Chiang Mai," and I'm like,
"Yeah, I don't remember."
Man. I don't remember.
Like, who are you?
Like a blur for me, just going out there really drunk, and like, it's a great event if you ever get the chance. Anyone listening to go out there, but I've got guys that like we hung around for 3 days and we spoke about this and we spoke about that, and I'm like, I have no recollection.
Especially the one that was the day after Halloween, man. That was just that was a write-off. That day was just, I've never had a day like that before, man. I went home at 5 a.m. and then the conference was at 7:30 a.m. or something like that. It was rough.
Yeah, that was the one I was at, 2018.
Definitely. I don't want to tell you.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. I don't think I was up until the second day though. So but I did try to attend the first day, and I remember just seeing more people hanging around at the toilets.
I was outside half of it by the pool, just trying to get my head together. I think I saw you talk though. I remember you spoke, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the presentation about?
Locally. Local SEO.
Okay.
But basically, this was a fucking balls up as well, because I was supposed to be talking about local SEO, and I was going to show people how to hijack GMBs and do all that GMB shit. And then someone said to me like a day before, I think it was Matt Diggity, someone from Google's in the fucking crowd. Like, anything out of your presentation. So I had like this hour-long presentation that actually lasted 33 minutes because I had to chop 50% out because I didn't want to.
They take it personally, man. They take it personally, like you're insulting their intelligence or something when you're gaming the system, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it.
So people are like, yeah, your talk was good. And I'm like, I would have blown it all away if someone didn't say Google are going to be there, because I did say you can do this stuff and there is loopholes there. But obviously I had to pull out the actual things that were working, because you know what it's like. I would have been killed by half the audience who were making a fortune on that stuff at the time. So yeah, that was my talk. But I'm glad to remember. I'm glad to hear you don't actually remember it. So
nothing personal, man. I don't remember too much. I remember Matt's talk, and I think I remember. Holly was talking about YouTube, so that one really stuck with me. But other than that, like I'm telling you, those 2 days are just a write off, man. Just a write off.
Yeah, that's fun times.
Yeah, it was great though.
But anyway, on to what we're good at, and enough about the fun times. Copywriting, and so obviously you have a lot of friends and you've done a lot of work and all of that kind of stuff. And most of the guys out in Chiang Mai are not doing day-to-day client work. They're doing affiliate projects, which a lot of my audience actually do. And I want to talk to you a bit about affiliate content.
Perfect.
I think this is where people make massive mistakes. As I said earlier, they just blanket say, I'm going to go and drop $5,000 on a guy and make him write like 300,000 words or whatever it's going to work out at for that budget. And there's no other thought process behind it. So why is that such a big mistake? Like, what would you advise someone who simply is sitting there and they're starting out an affiliate project and they've got an age domain, for example, the website's all built, that it's got a nice backlink profile, and they're now coming to that stage where they just want to overload it with content just at the beginning? What would you say is the best way to do this?
Yeah, wow, good question. I would actually like to. I want to say something else before I get to that. That's really important. I think with SEOs, they think really from like an analytical perspective, right? Which is obvious. Like that's your job. That's what you do. They really care about. When it comes to content, they really just care about, okay, is it surfer optimized? Like what's the layout? Like what keywords are we going after, et cetera. They don't really think about the reader. They don't really think about how can I make the best piece of content for the reader. And in the beginning, I guess most SEOs they care about ranking the website, right? So, and obviously that's the most important thing, but I just want to implore people not to lose sight of the reader. You want to keep them engaged. You want to keep them like happy. You want them to keep them coming back and getting more social shares, comments. But that's really it's really more of a long game. So it's harder to sell SEOs, especially new affiliates, on how important the long game is. So I would just say do not skimp on the price. Do not try to make it as cheap as possible. I get it if you just don't have the money and you just need to get content up there. Of course, having content is better than not having content. But in the beginning, investing more in content is 100% worth it. It's going to pay back in the long run. I have clients now who are seeing things like, triple the conversions. Recently, I had a client who came back to me and said, hey, people are actually commenting on my blog posts now because they're readable and they're fun and they're full of value. And he's in the pet niche and he doesn't really even know anything about pets. And now he's getting all these comments and he doesn't know how to answer them because he's never had comments before. He's never actually, he's like, fuck, I don't know what to do now because people are actually interacting. So And that means people are going to be clicking more, sharing more. You're going to build your brand. So if you're just starting out, I would say invest as much as you can. Don't try to just, and spend time vetting and training your writers too. Don't just outsource to the cheapest one you find on Upwork or Fiverr or whatever.
Here, here is
yeah,
a question on that subject, because you say, don't scrimp and scrape on price. What, in your opinion, is actually a good price? Because sometimes there's a massive disparity in terms of I've been there and I've went to content writers and someone else says it's 5 cents a word, someone else says it's 4 cents a word, and that can be massive if you're doing that at volume.
Yeah, right. Yeah, at volume. Yeah, it's massive. I understand.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to add to that?
So just give us an idea. If I'm a novice or a novice is listening here that doesn't understand, quality and all that kind of stuff, what is a good price or what's too cheap? Give us an idea on that.
I definitely think that if you're looking for like native speakers and you're looking for good content that a writer is going to take a lot of time into researching and things like that, I would say don't mess around under 5 cents per word. I wouldn't even, unless you personally know the writer and have seen their work and the writer is like, hey, I'm just starting out and I'm willing to work for cheap to get a reference or exposure, then I guess I could make an exception, but I would never go under 5 cents a word, but I think a good price for like decent quality that's going to be well researched and written from a reader's benefit perspective. I'll get into that in a little bit, but something like 7 or 8 cents a word is like a sweet spot. I know, like working with a lot of clients, they say like, okay, 10 cents a word and above is really untenable unless I'm profitable, right? Because if you want like one of the sites that I'm partnered on, we're doing like 5,000 words, 6,000, 7,000 word mega posts, right? And it's really hard to stomach paying $700, $800 for an article when you're not really bringing in money, right? So I totally understand that. But so I would say the sweet spot is somewhere around 6, 7, 8 cents a word. That range, I think you'll find pretty solid quality, and it's a little bit easier to stomach the price in the long run.
Yeah. So before, because I obviously asked you a question, so forget about that question for now.
Yeah.
So you've given us this sweet spot. What things should we be looking for? Because obviously anyone can say, I can do articles at 6 cents. What sort of things should you be asking a content writer to identify whether they actually know what they're doing or not? What is the key mistakes that everyone's making or not asking?
Yeah, great question. I think first of all, yeah, you want to look at their portfolio and things like that, just to check to get a sense of what kind of writer they are, and then definitely give them a blog post, maybe like 1,500 words about something that they actually have to give their opinion on, like something that they can't just regurgitate the things they find on Google and type it in their own words and write it out. Like give them something like for example, you could say something like give them an article where they have to compare 2 products and then say why one product is better than the other, something like that, something that makes them actually have to put their opinion into it. So they have to actually kind of they have to take what they find on Google or YouTube or wherever they're searching, and they have to synthesize it, and they have to make their own opinion. That way you can see if they're actually capable of synthesizing information. And what I mean by that, in case people are not familiar with it, it means just taking information that you find on the web, processing it, and then giving it back to the reader in like a way that's easy to digest and like kind of it's full of value. You teach them, you give them a practical tip, you give them a benefit, you tell them how their life is going to improve. It shows that you actually understand the information and can kind of give it back to the reader in a valuable way. I think that's really important. I know that was really long-winded, so maybe I can sum it up. I like to talk if you can't notice. I think to sum it up, I would say the biggest mistake is just not giving the writer the right kind of test article. Give them an article that actually makes them have to add their opinion or add value or something like that. And make sure you say that in the outline. Be like, okay, tell me why this is valuable, or tell me why this is better, or tell me why this is the #1 product. Tell me why this is better than all the other ones in your own words, things like that.
So that great answer. Next thing I want to ask you is, obviously the quality of content in your opinion is important, and we'll go into that in a bit. But someone just starting to watch this going, right, 7 cents, that's the sweet spot. Here's a few things that we should be looking for from a writer. Where, in your opinion, for English speaking websites, whether that's America, UK, or whatever, the best place to get affordable content? Because I know guys that have hired Filipinos, for example, which is not their first language, and it's horrendous. Same with India and stuff like that. So, in your opinion, where would you, if you were, forget about, that you probably have a whole bunch of contacts that are really good, but if you were starting out, do we look at South Africa? Because I've heard a lot of people saying, because they're English speakers and the cost of living is low over there. Is that a good option? Or what sort of countries should we be looking at for good low cost stuff?
Good question. I think in my experience, I've really only ever worked with native speaking writers, aside from a few rare cases. And I think, South Africa is definitely a good resource. I've also heard people talking about Kenya. Because they speak English there, at least at a very high level. I'm not sure if it's actually the national language or whatever. I mean, I wish I was more geopolitically knowledgeable than I am, but I've heard a lot of good things about Kenya. I've also met a lot of good writers from the Philippines, but you're right. Like, they either speak Tagalog or they speak Bisaya, and they speak English really well. But when it comes to actually writing in a language that's not your first language, it's difficult. I mean, I bet you 50% of native speakers can't even write very well. It's really difficult. So I think you hit it on the head. You either got to look for college students in native speaking countries, people willing to work for cheap, or you can, obviously South Africa is a native speaking country, but I would check that out. I would check out Kenya, and I would definitely give a chance to Filipinos. I've met a lot of good Filipino writers. You might have to do a lot more editing, because they do sometimes use words that are unnatural, like a native speaker wouldn't use them. It sounds a little strange to the ear, but it might just take a little bit of editing. You might even have a VA that can edit it for you. So I think that's not bad, especially if you get, a cheaper price. If you can get it at half price and you've got a VA already who can just edit it, then it's worth it, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know that. Now, obviously, that gives us a platform on some places to get writers, roughly what we should be paying. But obviously, that's not the be all and end all. There's a lot more to content writing, such as obviously doing your research. You've got your surfer, optimization, if you like, and all of the other stuff that content writers like yourself will look at, and looking for semantically related keywords, and actually making an article rank. Because some articles rank for 10 keywords. And I think when you get a really good content writer, it can rank for 110 or 1,010 keywords, by adding in, keyword clusters or whatever it might be. And I think actually I was on a live show yesterday, and we were talking about keyword clusters, and someone gave a really good example where he says, if you were selling men's candles and you were to add, if you were selling candles, and then you have to add the word men and scent or scented, then basically opened up a whole new set of keywords. And these are actually things that are related. So I want to understand the mechanics, not the mechanics, but the kind of optimization, and what you feel is really important and what a lot of people are missing out on. Because obviously you train other content writers, you're doing this stuff to a high level. So what are these rookies making mistakes on? What can we do? What should we be looking for to improve, to make a page go from 10 keywords to 1,010 keywords?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question. I actually, to be honest with you, I haven't really thought about that too much. I normally just take I will normally have the list of keywords. I get it from somebody who's working on the website. We've got a VA who's doing the research, or the owner of the website is doing the research himself. But I would definitely recommend. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Let me rephrase this. Is what I've just asked more of the SEO's job than the content writers? Because here's the other thing. Because I think a lot of SEOs get lazy and they try and put everything onto the content writer. So
yeah, I agree. That happens to me all the time, man. It's a pain in the ass.
so if I've asked something that you feel is
that's okay, because I mean, I do actually do that now that I have more experience with it. But what I do is I kind of go like, I've got the research in front of me that's done by the SEO, and they send it to me, and then I take that and I kind of go into like, so what I do is I go to forums, I go obviously to related searches, I go to the people also ask, I go to Quora, I go to Reddit, I go to YouTube, and I actually like I listen to some YouTube videos too. I look at the words that they're using that are ranking in the videos and in the descriptions. And if I find a word there that's not in the research or something like that, I always add it into the outline, and I try to either add it in its own subsection. You know, so when you're talking about candles, I might say something like, what are the best, scented candles for men? I might add that into the FAQ. I might add that into like a separate section within the content. So that's kind of how I find different keyword ideas that might be missing. But to be honest, I don't actually do the research. So I think if you want to, like, your writers definitely should in their research process be going to as many different resources as possible. So like I said, Reddit, Quora, people also ask, definitely to YouTube, read the descriptions, listen, even go, like, for example, if you're doing like an affiliate review and you have different products, go to the product's homepage or to the Amazon listing and find, different related ideas or language that they're using, and definitely add it into your outline. I have when I outline, I have a separate section just called language, and I use bullet points, and I just copy paste the words into those bullet points. And I kind of just use them for inspiration while I'm writing to make sure I include them.
yeah.
But as far as the research goes, yeah, I'm not the one who's actually using Ahrefs or anything like that. I don't actually do that.
Right, cool. No, I was just curious if that was something, because as I say, I think a lot of SEOs are putting the full expectation on the poor content writer.
They don't want to do it, right? I mean, it's a pain in the ass, right? They'd rather have just somebody else do it, right? But I think it's a great skill to have as a writer. If you can do the research, and you can add that to your price, But I do actually know how to do it. I just don't take the time to do it. I'd rather somebody else do it.
Yeah, no, fair play, because it's a pain in the ass of a job.
It really is. And it's already hard enough to make the damn thing.
Yeah. So if someone gives you a keyword to write about, how does that normally come across to a content writer? What, is it just an email saying, here's what I want, or do they make videos? What is the best way to relay that information to you so that you fully understand what I want? What is the current best way to do it? Because I'm assuming you're going to get guys that will just say, here's the keywords, off you go. I don't, no, I'm not giving a shit. And that's not enough spec for you, but given that you're not an expert in, the pet niche or whatever it might be. So what is an ideal way to give your content writer what you need? What are you expecting?
So I think now actually the niches that I'm working in, it's kind of really like the scope is very narrow. So I have become a lot better at it. And now my business partner, they're just going to send me a list of keywords. They're going to send me the main topic and say, hey, please, I want you to include this, this, and this. And then I just go from there. I like that. I like no rails. I like, no handcuffs. I just want to be free to do what I want. And think of it like a big canvas that I can paint on, and then I send it to them and they do whatever kind of editing that they want to do. But I understand that really is not going to work with the vast majority of writers and the vast majority of working relationships, right? So I think like when I was first starting, the best ones were, I wrote some content for a lot of people in Chiang Mai, and one in particular would send me like an outline with obviously the main keyword. And then they had something like, basically what I'm trying to say is make kind of a bare bones outline with the keywords that you want them to include. So what they did was they had intro, and they said, here in this intro, write about 50 words about this product, include this keyword. And then in the main body, this subsection with these 3 keywords, then the next one, this section with these 3 keywords, here's a total word count. So I think a lot of writers, they get kind of like nervous and they overthink it. So as the SEO, I would do as much work for them as possible, make their life as easy as possible. So if you're doing the research, just add that in the outline, tell them what subsections you want to see, and then add in, 3, 4, 5, or whatever it happens to be keywords there that they should include. I think that will make their life a lot easier. I think higher level writers won't like that, because the higher level writers, they want a lot of freedom, but
Yeah.
if you're getting writers like 5 cents a word, 6 cents a word, whatever, it's going to greatly benefit you. You'll get a better product if you do more work for them, if you outline it for them and tell them what to do and what not to do. Like, hey, don't be too fluffy. Don't over explain. Just do step by step. For example, if you're writing about cleaning your hiking boots or something like that, tell them in section 1, like how to store them or something like that, or how to wash them before you clean, like how to soak them in water, and then include these 5 keywords and give them a step-by-step tutorial with maximum 100 words. I think that would be a lot better than just giving them like a blank canvas to paint on, because then you're probably going to get a low quality product.
Yeah, no, it's. I was just curious to know how how you would relay that information. And I think obviously a more detailed information and doing that would work a hell of a lot better, and obviously allow you to have your subheadings and everything else in there as well, rather than a blank canvas where someone ends up running off in a tangent. So I think there's to be a fine balance of giving your content writer freedom and actually doing what works from an SEO point of view. So just trying to get that.
I would definitely say, I guess like anything else, you want to start off like when you're first writing with them, like giving them as much information as possible, kind of like you want to build that trust first, so make their life as easy as possible in the beginning. But if they're good, you can give them more and more freedom. I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
I've certainly, my content writer, I give quite a lot of freedom to. I'm never standing over them and trying to input stuff, and they learn and they make mistakes and they develop as well. So I think the freedom thing is always important as well. But over and above what we've said there, what are the most other common mistakes guys like me are making? Is there anything else that I've not mentioned so far when it comes to me outsourcing or managing a content writer? Is there anything else that you see that people should not be doing? What is fucking up the industry when it comes to that?
I think 3 things. So I think there's 3 things that are really fucking everything up. For one, I think a lot of people in SEO, they just don't care. They'd rather just see the content, get it out. They don't want to think about it, right? They're busy. They're busy trying to get links. They're busy, getting new web design. They're busy working their affiliate deals out, or whatever they happen to be doing, making YouTube videos. So content is kind of like on the lower, it's like on the lower end of the spectrum, right? They kind of just don't give a shit about it. And I understand, like, if you're putting out bad content, but you have the right keywords, you still have a chance of ranking, but you're giving away so much money. Like, think about how much money you're giving away if you're ranking, but people are coming to your page and just seeing shit content. And they're like, oh, this guy, A, doesn't sound like he can speak English properly. B, just is regurgitating like basic facts. He's not convincing me to buy the product or stay on the page or whatever. So I think just caring more and understanding, like, even though you might not get immediate benefit as soon as because like if you get a new link, whatever, you see, somebody links to you and boom, you get that kind of juice pretty quickly, right? You see some immediate benefit to it. Content is not the same for the most part. But it's worth it, and it should be way more important. It should be way higher on the priority list. I mean, the second thing that I think is a big issue is kind of when you're hiring writers, I think people hire the wrong way. I think SEOs, they approach hiring writers from an SEO perspective. Like, they're always like, hey, what are your qualifications? You have a degree. How many years of experience do you have with this topic? How many words can you write on a weekly basis? Like, they think about it in a very analytical way, right? Mm-hmm. But writers, it's more of like a creative thing, you need to find the right kind of people. Writers can be really difficult to deal with. Trust me, I know. We're not easy people to deal with. And so I always tell people when I do consultations, like especially about hiring, you can teach a writer to do anything in SEO. You can teach them Surfer, you can teach them, H1s, you can teach them keywords, whatever. but you can't teach them to really give a shit. You can't teach them to give a shit about doing a good job. You need to find writers who go above and beyond to try to write like a good article. And I think it's actually pretty easy to identify. So like, and even like when I'm training, like I train a lot of writers on the side. When I'm doing that, I would gladly take somebody who's like not a very good writer, but really cares and is really trying to do something good. I will take that over a decent writer who just doesn't give a shit. Like, so what I said before about synthesizing information, a lot of writers will just take what they see in the top 5 results, they'll reword it, and they'll just be really lazy, and they'll write a really fluffy kind of BS article with no real value in it, right? They might say something like, I read one time, what is Constant Contact? And he was writing about Constant Contact, which is an email marketing company. And he was just saying, Constant Contact is an email marketing company. They have all-in-one services. These services are great for your business goals. They will definitely help you achieve your business goals if you sign up. And that was like how he started the article. And I just didn't even respond to him. I just literally blocked him. I was like, this is awful, and just literally trash. And he clearly just doesn't care, But I've had other writers, specifically one from, I think he was Bangladesh, who his English was pretty good, but his writing was not that great. But he was actually taking screenshots of the tool, and he was giving people tips. And he was like, hey, if you see this metric is going up, that's a good sign. And if this one's going down, it's a bad sign. And he was drawing red arrows to all the different things. And I was like, wow, like this is the guy that I want, somebody who really cares. So like I said before in the beginning, I know I'm super long-winded, but you guys just got to deal with it. Give them something that makes them actually have to think and give an opinion or whatever, and then see if they go that extra step. Are they trying to tell the reader like practical tips? Are they really trying to like give their opinion? Are they really trying to add extra value into the article? If you see they're really, really trying, with this guy taking screenshots and writing arrows and stuff, like that is a huge, huge, I hate to say red flag, but that's a huge flag that this person is the kind of writer you want. Look for somebody who cares. Not necessarily, because I have clients like, for example, I had one in the golf niche, and he had been golfing his whole life, and I never wrote about golfing before. And within 2 weeks, I was a better golf writer than he was, because it doesn't matter how much experience you have with the topic. It really doesn't. You can learn that stuff. You can gain that in a month, really, it's all about trying to do a good job.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Just simplifying it and actually giving a shit, I think, is
Exactly.
usually is quite important. But over and above, the general content writing and all of that kind of stuff, are there any tools that you use on a daily basis, like Grammarly, or when you're writing content, are there any tools to help aid a content writer that is going to make it better? What does your actual process look like? Do you run it through Grammarly? Do you do copyscape checks, or is it just all natural and you don't give a shit?
I don't. I personally don't, to be honest with you. I don't like those tools, because those tools are really like analytical about, I'm not saying they don't have value. They definitely do. I just think that I've been writing so long that I just personally think that I'm a lot better than Grammarly. My brain is a lot, my experience, I know what is good and not good. Grammarly can tell you like, hey, this sentence is too long, or you made a typo, or you maybe didn't use the past tense correctly, but that's not going to tell you what is actually good content or not. But I understand from an SEO perspective, if you're doing it at scale and you've got cheaper writers that kind of, they're not maybe the best writers out there. And I think like Grammarly and Hemingway app and all that stuff, like that's good to take a bad writer and make it readable, But I think it's not good enough to take a decent article and make it better. Like that's not really what it's there for. The only thing that I think is good is like if you have a writer who's pretty good, but it makes like common mistakes, like using passive voice or writing run-on sentences, or they're too long-winded where they use multiple instances of punctuation in their sentences, then you can start running it through Grammarly and being like, hey man, start running your stuff through Grammarly, and it'll tell you when your sentences are too long, or it'll tell you when you're using passive voice too much. That way you can kind of beat the bad habit out of them. Yeah. But in general, in general, no, I don't. Personally, I just don't. I just rely on my own intuition.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's sometimes the best way. And I was just
Yeah.
curious. Now, another question I want to ask, and you might not want to answer as such. What
Okay.
do you think in terms of the future? You know, we see a lot of these kind of AI content writing things that are coming out these days. They're popping up all over the place. What's your thoughts as a copywriter on this garbage? Is this something we can use in any way to our benefit? Like for you, would you use something like that to even give yourself a basic structure and then go in and edit it, or is this stuff just complete
Oh,
bullshit just now?
I, in no way, shape, or form, can condone the use of robots in the place of human beings for this job. So I don't want to screw up anybody's job or work or anything like that. So I don't want to say it's good or anything. I do think that there will never be like a replacement for a really good writer. I don't think writing, and especially sales, if you want to do sales copywriting, it's all about emotions and making an emotional connection with people. And until robots are capable of making emotional connections with people, then I don't think copywriting, I mean, basic content writing, like really like fluffy basic articles. Yeah. I mean, you might be able to use AI for that within the next 10 years and you could pass it through Google somehow.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think copywriting is in danger from that. And I wouldn't even know the first thing about using AI and going into editing it or anything like that.
No, I'm just curious to know
Yeah,
your thoughts on that, because I know a lot of people are like, copywriters, there's got to be a way to automate this shit from an SEO point of view. Obviously, to cut costs down and stuff like that. But again, I think that's the wrong kind of mindset. I think you get what you pay for, and
yeah,
as
for
I
sure.
say, with my own experience, I would rather pay more and get the job done properly because I have been there. Relating to some of the stuff you've said, like I remember years ago when I had an agency, we had a client who delivered alcohol to people's houses. So you could basically ring up this guy at
Right.
any time and say,
Okay.
bring all the beers and the wine and whatever, alcohol delivery service, basically. And we explained this to a content writer, and we wanted to capture locations surrounding where this guy was based. And so we said, go away and write that he does alcohol delivery in all of these areas. And the guy who came back and said, and on this article, it said how alcohol was bad for you, bad for your liver, you shouldn't and all of this shit. And we're like,
what are you doing, man?
this, like, we're trying to sell this guy fucking.
You have one job, dude. You have one fucking job, dude. Do it right.
And she went, it can't be as easy as what you just suggested. Like, it can't just be this guy delivers beer to your house. And I'm like,
yeah, it is.
That is how easy it is. And I think something you said earlier is, I think, from a content writer perspective, and this is for those who that are listening to the podcast who may be interested in content writing or want to develop themselves. There is no secret fucking science to this. If someone asks you to write about the top 10 golf balls, for example, that's what they want. There's no special weird ass angle. Like, and I think that's what kills a lot of content writers themselves is
trying too hard, right? Overthinking it and trying too hard for sure. Yeah.
If you've got decent grammar skills and whatever, surely to God, like for me, bullshit just flows out my mouth without even giving a second thought. I hear a lot of people saying, "Hey, I can't get any more than 200 words on, this specific subject or whatever it's going to be." And you're like, what? Dude, come on, fucking just make this shit up. Like, fluff it out.
Okay, man. I mean, there's always something. Like what I do is I kind of like, so what I've been doing is I kind of do this like recursive research process. When I'm writing an article. So for example, I'll research the main keyword and then I'll see what comes up. I'll see what comes up on YouTube or in related searches. And then like, for example, the first subsection, I will again research that independently in Google and see what comes up, see what people are saying about it. Let me try to think of an example. Like, so if you have like hiking boots or something and you're talking about like, best hiking boots for beginners or how to select hiking boots for beginners. You have that main keyword, right? You research that, you go through your research process, you start writing, and then you come to the first subsection, right? And the first subheader is, how to determine fit, or how to determine comfort, or comfort is the most important thing. So then I'll Google again, comfort hiking boots, or what makes a hiking boot comfortable, or how to determine comfort. And then you're going to get a whole new set of results, right? And there's a whole different directions you can go in. You can read all of those articles. You can check out a YouTube video. You could check out a forum, go to Reddit or whatever. And then you're going to find 50 new topics. You're going to find new ideas. Like, there's no reason that you should ever be short on words in an article. You can put anything in there, as long as you attach it in there, and you've got the right keyword, and there's value for the reader, it could go in there. Like, it's all about value. As long as the reader gets something out of it, then it should be in there, or it could be in there, let's say.
No, good point. Good point.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't fluff it up, though. I am all about writing really tight, really concise content, which I think is something would be excellent to get to. Maybe I could. I think that would be really helpful to the audience if I could mention that at some point later, about writing like really tight, concise content.
Well, that is going to be the kind of next thing. I want to know, because obviously we've spoke about the common mistakes that people are making. What are your top few tips for writing content? It's just going to lead on to that just now. And obviously you mentioned there, tight, concise content is good. But yeah, give us a couple of your top tips for people that are working really well for you.
Number one is the intro. This is the biggest, it's not only the most important part of the article, it's my biggest pet peeve. And when I see a bad intro, I just get fucking angry, man. It just makes me angry. And like, I think if people cared more about the intro, they would start seeing way more engagement. Like, so you have to think about it from the reader's perspective. They're typing in a keyword, for example, best internet marketing software, and they come to your article. They're looking for internet marketing software, right? They want to see an intro that immediately speaks to the position they're in the awareness cycle, in the buying cycle, right? They don't want to see an intro that just says, internet marketing is becoming a very important thing for your business. They don't want to hear some basic bullshit fact, right? That's not what they're there for. They want to hear that this is a great article for the keyword. So what I would do is just hit them immediately with what they're looking for. So if they're searching for best internet marketing software, the first line of your intro should lead naturally from that keyword that they're searching for. It should lead naturally from that intent. So be like, hey, you could even say, welcome to my best internet marketing software review. In this article, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and you'll be able to find the best software based on your budget, goals, and your level of awareness with internet marketing. It's not the best, but that is infinitely better than just stating basic bullshit about internet marketing that they're already aware of. Yeah. Another good example could be something like, let's stick with hiking boots or something. Best hiking boots for beginners, And I see a lot of affiliate content starts out with like, these hiking boots are really important because hiking is fun and it's exciting and you're going to have a good time, blah, 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 blah. Don't waste their time. They're looking for good hiking boots. Just tell them, hey, we are the authority on hiking boots. You can trust our review. We've read countless reviews on Amazon. We've tested 20 different shoes and these 5 are the best, So that's what they want. Like, just don't waste their time. So with intros, get to the point. Don't state basic facts about the topic. Just lead straight into the article. Tell them what they're going to get. And 3, don't use like cliches like, in this day and age, you can blah, 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 blah. Or if you've ever heard of X, then you've definitely heard of Y. Like, no, that stuff is really played out. Just like 2 or 3 lines maximum and just get straight into it. Tell them what they're going to get. And I've seen like 60% decrease in bounce rate just by changing the intro like that. I had that recently with a client who was selling, well, I don't want to say, but it was in the UK and it was like a home hobby kind of niche. So it went down. It just like the bounce rate went way, way down just by changing the intro. So that's number 1, tip number 1 for sure. Tip number 2, this one is pretty difficult, but it's all about value for the reader. You need to think about the reader. Don't just tell them basic facts. Like, if you tell them a basic fact about something, the reader is going to sit there and think like, why do I need to know this? Why is this important? What else can you tell me? Blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Like that's what they're going to be thinking in their brains. You have to take it a step further and provide value. So when you tell them something, always think, what do they gain from this? How do they benefit? Why do they need to know this? If you can kind of think of the benefits of the fact. So when you're stating a fact, think of the benefits of the fact and then tell them those things. So I can give a few examples. I know that's might be a little bit difficult to process. So recently I had one where we were doing running supplements, and the supplement contained a certain amount of, I think it was like electrolytes or fenugreek or something like that. Who knows? Some BS. And basically what I told them was, this actually has 250 milligrams of fenugreek or testosterone or whatever it was. And then that's not enough, though. You have to take it a step further and think about the benefit. This has 2 times more fenugreek than the nearest competitor, right? And when you have more fenugreek, that's going to help you run farther and run faster and then tell them how it works. You have to give them the details. It works because instead of breaking down like your muscles normally do, this supplement is going to add more energy, or it's going to delay the breakdown in your muscles, right? That is going to give you more power, So, and then you even take it a step further and visualize it. So if you normally break down at 5 kilometers into your run, now you can go 6 or 7 because you've got the extra juice in your muscles, as much details and benefits as you can give. Like, do not just tell them basic surface level facts. That is not enough. The more benefits you give them, the better. Like, they're going to be so engaged. They're going to love it. Their brain is going to light up. You have to make that extra effort.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So
that was a lot to unpack. I understand. People have already turned off by now. They're gone, I think.
Yeah. But over and above everything else, you've given off some nice tips, some common mistakes, prices to look for. Anything else? Is there anything I've not asked that we should?
I definitely should talk on the concise writing part.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was talking yesterday with a friend about this. I was reading his ebook, and the ebook was really good. And the thing is, it sounded a little bit robotic, but I was telling him, like, hey man, it's way better to sound at least like a little bit robotic than it is to sound fluffy and wordy and whatever. Because like when you write too many words, you lose the reader. Like when you're really long-winded, the brain just shuts off. It's too hard to process. We're inherently lazy, and especially now on the web when we have like millions of options, right? So you need to write really tight, really punchy sentences. And I know that's really difficult to teach, but I always keep it at a really basic level with new writers. I always say, hey man, just use present simple tense as much as possible. Use simple past tense. Write short sentences that are really punchy. And that normally means starting with the subject and just writing 1 line or 1.5 line sentences. And if it starts to get long, break it up. You can start the next sentence with a conjunction. That's fine. And, but, or whatever. That's fine. So I always tell them, like, I'll try to think of something off the top of my head. Let's stick with hiking boots. It could be something like, the content is fine if it sounds like hiking boots are the most important part of your hiking arsenal, period. The best hiking boots will give you more comfort, which will help you walk farther and have a better time, period. That kind of stuff. Simple sentences like that. Not too much punctuation, nothing like passive voice or not too many if-then statements. Like, keep that to a minimum. And again, it always comes down to simple structures, present simple tense, simple past tense, and simple word usage is much better than getting way too. That's actually another one that I just thought of it. Don't try too hard. Don't try to impress the reader with big words or trying to sound super intelligent. Like, people are not interested in that. They want to just be educated quickly. They want a simple and pleasurable reading experience. They don't want it. This is not prose. This is not War and Peace. This is not a play. It's affiliate content, man. Just keep it easy.
Yeah, that's not Shakespeare, as you say. It's
I see so many writers trying to do that because we as writers, we don't want to write simply because it makes us think that we're working less. You know, we want to feel like we're working more, like we're doing a great job. Like, oh, I just wrote the greatest article of all fucking time about hiking boots, and it sounds like a Shakespearean play. This is amazing. Well, guess what? Nobody's going to read it because it's too difficult.
Yeah.
Got to keep it simple for a wide audience too. It's a lot easier for a wide international audience to read that stuff.
I think, yeah, for me, I think those methods apply not just to content writing, but, you know, whether you make videos, whether you do whatever you do not all that salesy waffle and jokes and all that. People want to know the points, they want to learn and then bugger off. You know, there's no point in
just spit it out.
Yeah, no, that's I think something I've always tried to do. Obviously, I probably need to polish up in it. Well, certainly, I'm not the best content writer. I can barely even write my own name. but you know, from a content writing perspective, there's certainly some tips in there that that I can take away from today, and I'm pretty sure everyone else will be able to do that. And you know, just tweak it and make sure that they do the best they can and keep it concise and unique and all of the other good stuff that you need to do. But before we do wrap up, Kevin, I want to touch a bit on what this web copymasterclass.com is. What is going on there? What is this? What can people learn from it? How much does it cost?
So Web Copy Masterclass is the course that I've put together. It's taken me like 8+ months, almost actually like 9 months or so to put this thing together because I've been using a lot of data that's coming in from the websites that I'm working on. It's like a data-driven course on how to write really good web copy. So even like, you know, a lot of it is for affiliate. Like, so if you're an affiliate, the course will teach you how to write high converting reviews. I've gone in and rewritten reviews on certain websites and seen like triple the conversions. I obviously can't guarantee anything. I'm just telling you, I've seen it. And it also teaches you how to write like really, really highly engaging content, like stuff that readers actually want to read, provides a lot of value, speaks in a language that they understand, that they can identify with. I even go into how to research. So I really heavily rely on forums and YouTube. I go into next level research, how to dig really deep into the web. I show you how to do that. And a lot of the feedback has been really positive, and they really like how I use like real examples. So I take examples from the web of bad content. I show the bad content. I actually rewrite it myself using the principles. I show you what the finished product is like, and then I tell you step by step how to do it. So it's kind of like it's something you can just hand to your editor or to your writing team, and they will get a ton of value out of it. And I think from an SEO's perspective, just taking the course yourself and learning what is good content and what is not good content will help you exponentially, because when the content comes across your desk, you can be like, hey, this is not good enough, or okay, this is good enough, but maybe I can make some of the edits myself. Now you'll have the knowledge to realize like what is and what is not good content. And lastly, I just want to say that like I have a whole module about affiliate copywriting and how to write really benefits-driven, emotional copy to sell your products. Because one of the biggest mistakes people in affiliate make is they write these affiliate reviews, and then the reviews are just really boring, all about the features. You know, it's like, hey, buy this pool table because the pool table is 6 feet long and 3 feet wide, and it's red. And it's nice. Like, just buy it. I don't know, click this button and spend $1,000 on it. Like, it doesn't work that way, you know? You have to tell people how their lives are going to improve, or how they're going to feel, or like how it's going to be like a speakeasy, and you're going to feel like you're in the Rat Pack and shit like that. Like, you don't want to lie, but it's all about how to like, you know, tap into these benefits, that tap into these emotions that make people want to purchase. So yeah. As far as the price, it's $297, but for Black Friday, it's going to be about $200. Like 200, and it's 30% off. So it'll be like 202 or something like that.
And also in here, just I want to ask, you mentioned, obviously we've spoke a lot about affiliates, but I'm assuming this stuff also has sales copywriting and various other things that can relate just to general SEO.
Yeah, I think, so for example, like one of my like you said before, Craig has been using it. He's gotten a lot of value out of it. one of like the target markets is agencies, because I would say like 80 to 90% of the course is just about how to write really concise, really benefits driven, really engaging content. And that for like an agency, that's going to help you not only eliminate bottlenecks, because like you said, like the content comes back, it's not good enough, you send it back, you don't know where the writer is, they disappear for 3 days because they've got psychological issues that they've never resolved in their lives, and like, okay, now they come back and then they edit it and it's not good enough again. Like these bottlenecks are just so annoying, you know? So if you can actually like identify how to do these, you can start doing them in-house and editing them yourself really quickly, or you can teach the writers and they stop making these mistakes, and it, you know, your processes are way better. And then, yeah, you develop better relationships with your clients too, because the clients are happy that they're getting better content. And then also, if you're an affiliate, you know, the better engagement, the lower bounce rate, the more clicks and stuff, that's all going to add up over time. Better SEO, more clicks, more sales. So I don't want to sound too salesy, but I think there's just exponential benefits to improving the content and actually caring about it.
Cool. No, and by the time this goes out, this will go out the day before Black Friday. So make sure that you do go and grab that for $202 or whatever it comes out at. I will put a link below this, and hopefully you get a whole bunch of sales on Black Friday. But
really sweet, man.
I do appreciate your time coming on and sharing all of
it. This was great.
And yeah, so I'm assuming if anyone wants to reach out to you or get in touch, they just come through webcopymasterclass.com, or is there a better place to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is on Facebook. Like you can see my name right there. I'm usually like pretty quick with responding to messages, but I am in Asia, so like I got like a 12-hour difference or a 6-hour difference with a lot of people. So just bear with me a little bit. But Facebook is the best way to get in contact with me.
Cool.
I also have email, but I still think, yeah, just Facebook is the best way. Send me a message on Facebook. Happy to help out. Take a look at your content. I'm happy to even provide like a 5-minute Loom video. I could give you some tips or pointers, whatever. I've been doing that. I'm happy to do that for free. I don't care.
Cool. I will have a link to your Facebook below as well. But yeah, as I say, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It has been an absolute pleasure. And
thank you, man.
I will catch up with you soon.
Sweet. Thanks again. I really appreciate this, man.